Okay, Scott, thank you so much for doing this. Just a few questions, I promise. It's been a busy day, hasn't it? A lot learned. So let's talk first about the research programme here. The EBS is a research programme into cognitive economics, which is being formally launched with this symposium today, which is exciting, obviously. So how important do you think that and this kind of programme is to the younger generation of scholars in this area?
I can't imagine anything more important. It's really... the thing is, it's explicitly interdisciplinary. So you've got all of that we know about nature and physics and biology, and then the psychological aspects come in strongly. The social aspects come in strongly. So it is a very nice way to, as it were, integrate the disciplines on a common problem.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, what could be more? What is the deepest problem? Is mind and matter, after all, right? The animate and the inanimate, the living and the dead.
Yeah, and it's kind of extraordinary to talk about all this stuff in the context of markets.
Indeed,
talking about neuroscience,
indeed.
Yeah, but of course, something that is very important to all of us is the market.
The market, yeah, of course.
So now you are one of the original pioneers. Quite exciting, in complexity theory and a leading societist in coordination dynamics.
Yes.
Now, how do you view the complexity of the economic system from that cognitive angle? And do you think that economics really appreciates your field?
Well, just personally speaking, I've been to these kinds of interdisciplinary meetings with economists. I won't mention their names, but it's been reported that some of them might have won 2 Nobel Prizes, that kind of thing. But I think this is really perfect from a complexity point of view, because you're talking really about multiple agents, how they interact, how they change, how they make changes to their worlds, and how the world affects them. So it's that's a fundamental kind of question. How living agents interact in a way to produce coherent effects. Now, maybe the market isn't always coherent, but it's never actually coherent. And actually, I find that one of the attractive features, because, in a way, nothing's ever stable. And we're very deeply ingrained in the desire and the notion of stability. And we use words like state as if we know what we're talking about, but most of the time in these complex systems, we don't actually know what the state variables are. So if we don't know the state variables, it's very hard to understand how they might behave and that kind of thing. So it's a very exciting kind of question.
So we need more cognitive thinking in economics, you think?
Yes, well...
could we ever do that?
Yeah, I mean, you can't get away from the fact that we have cognition, you see. I think, for example, in my own work, I want to get to the core of what it means to be an agent, what it means to be a cognitive agent. And that's, in the last few years, has taken me in this direction to study how infants change their world and what that's about.
Do you buy the idea that the market could have a mind or act as a mind? We've talked about this a lot today.
Yes,
I'm not quite sure there's agreement on it
yet. Not yet. And I think, I mean, of course, the philosophers have looked at that. I see the idea that agents can come together and produce synergistic effects. And those synergistic effects are synergistic because they are positive effects for the group or the team. So you can even think of the market mind, and this hasn't really been discussed in terms of what makes a really good team, you see, in terms of some kind of collective mental structure. We may not know what exactly that mental structure is in terms of scientific quantities and so on, but
it feels like a kind of madness.
If we are sane, Merryn, we're also going to be mad. See, that was the point of the metastable mind, that you have both of these apparent opposing tendencies that coexist at the same time. So that's really fundamental to the coordination dynamics story, actually.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've written a lot.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me. Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to make sense for everyone else. But I've been here all day, so a lot of things.
Well, it's been a long day.
To me, a lot of things are not making any sense to me anymore.
It's been a long day.
But listen, hopefully we'll have one of these next. So you've written a lot about early self-awareness, about the babies.
Yes.
You had a wonderful video in your presentation that we didn't get to see, but I'm going to see later. You've written about early self-awareness. You've written about aha moments, so eureka moments,
yes.
and all about the relationship of those to discovery in general.
Yes.
And discovery, of course, is a major part of the chain inside the economic system. You get an insight by a scientist, you get an invention, you get an innovation by an entrepreneur, and then you get the valuation of this in markets via price discovery. So I guess the question is, how is the qualitative aspect of these sort of aha experiences, how does that motivate us to explore and gain? One's never enough, is it?
To explore, sorry?
And to gain knowledge.
To gain knowledge.
Being the key.
Well, again, I like to look at well-defined experimental situations. Mm-hmm. And in this case, for example, of the babies, most of the story, historically in science, has been to put the emphasis on the baby, on the organism, that the organism's changing. But one of the key points here is that this ability to change the world, to make the world change, to make something happen, actually arises out of your relation to your environment. Mm-hmm. So you have to include the environmental context, whether that's a social context or a visual or a haptic or an auditory scenario. You've got to bring that together with the organism. And that means for coordination dynamics, it means you better identify what the key quantities are that capture this coordination between the agent and the environment. Agency arises out of that. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Fascinating.
It's a step. It's a baby step, if you like.
Baby step. At least I understand what you say.
Good. Good. Cool. Whatever.